listening to
Split the Defense.
LEAFS PostGame Edition.
Split the Defense.
Is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004. Serving the Kingston and surrounding areas. Alongside co-host Craig Pearce and producer Ted Evans, here's your host, Jordan Webster.
What up, what up? Welcome to Split the Defense, Leafs post-game edition. Leafs win 4-3 against the Calgary Flames. Austin Matthews gets a hat trick, and they kind of didn't blow a lead. They kind of did, kind of didn't. We'll talk about that. But they ended Calgary's 4-game winning streak. Before we get into this, please take a second, as always, drop a like on this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and rate us 5 stars on all the podcasting platforms you may be consuming from. Sharon Govish and Kadri had goals tonight for Calgary. Matthews has 3. Marner has 1. Score ends 4-2. There wasn't as much energy in this game. 4-3.
Whatever.
Whatever.
All that matters is
it was a win.
Yeah.
Who cares? There wasn't as much energy in this game as there was in Edmonton.
That was good. No.
Did you notice that when I was watching this right off the start? It felt flat. It felt like this game just wasn't from the crowd.
From the crowd.
And maybe from the teams as well.
From the
teams
team, for
obviously
sure.
fed off the energy in Edmonton. Both teams did. But like it felt like the air was tense in Edmonton, and here in Calgary tonight, it just felt pretty flat. Was I wrong in that?
Well, it's hard to compare it to the Edmonton game because that was basically the game of the year so far. Like as far as entertainment wise, like it was the Matthews versus McDavid show. Both guys were bringing it. That's hard to compare it to that. So
And Matthews had 3 goals.
Yeah.
So
No, I just mean when it comes to the intensity of the game, that comes from the other team, right? So there's no McDavid on Calgary to make it that intense. So I think that's a huge part of it. But from Matthew's side, wow,
what a game!
I couldn't believe when they said that he hasn't had 5 points before. I was just one, couldn't believe that, and 2 was just praying that he got another one because without he deserved it really. He was the basically the entire team tonight. So.
Oh, he played his ass off. He was Superman tonight. He just went to work. He got in the phone booth at the beginning of the game, came out, saved the fucking world, and so be it. The Leafs win. Austin Matthews was getting MVP chants in the stands. Now, after we just said everything we said about Austin Matthews not being on the same level as some of the other players on the Colorado Avalanche and some of the other players in the league, do we agree with the Austin Matthews definitely has a case for MVP, or is that just Leafs fan banter?
His goal scoring is almost unmatched, so that's one thing I gotta say.
Yeah,
I really wanted to hear from you on that, Ted, for sure.
Yeah, because as much as there is a comparison, and we heard that the other night and we talked, and even Steve saying it's not even close, and there's tears and all this stuff. As true as that can be, Nate's not a goal scorer like Matthews is. He really isn't. No one really is, I think, at this point. Matthews is insane. When I was watching the stats and watching the game, it was like, oh, his 35th goal. Oh, his 36th goal. Oh, look at that. He's got 37 goals this year. Amazing.
Some guys
what
just pine to score 37 in a season. They're like, I would love to just score 37 in a season. And it's not even the All-Star break yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get paid to score 37 in a season. We're not even barely halfway through the season. That's fucking stupid. Let me throw another stat here. Austin Matthews has 12 multi-goal games this season, and he's on pace for 71 goals now.
Right.
Wow.
I think Steve, like he said from SDPN, he caught a lot of heat because he said it wasn't close. It's funny because there's a big difference between a player that can really control a game, whenever he wants to, and then the best scorer currently in the NHL. And I think Matthews is by far the best scorer in the NHL. MVP to me is interesting because I think if he pulls off 70 goals, you have to give it to him because it's no one in the Cap era has done it. It's such a milestone. And so But does MVP actually mean MVP? Like, that's the other thing. Because, like, if it was, then I'd give it to McDavid every single year. If it's about, like, the season and, like, doing something special, then, yeah, like, I think he's at least a candidate. Like, you can't
And
be if you get...
MVP's a funny trophy because the way it's worded is supposed to be the player who is most valuable to his team.
Exactly.
So
Which
it's
can
not
mean
the
a lot
most
of different
valuable
things.
in the league.
Yeah.
It's just like if they
do you
didn't
take
have
that?
Austin Matthews, how many more games would they have lost? Now, that's an exercise that I will do between now and our next game, and I will have those stats because I'm about to go through in the next couple of days, and I will figure that out. If Austin Matthews scored 0 goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the games that they played, how many games minus his goals would be losing games?
Right.
So one thing that
so
comes
how
to
valuable
mind...
are his goals? Yes.
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind right away is that he just got his first game-winning goal the other night.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm actually
Oh, yeah.
kind of
Yeah, that was
I'm
wild,
kind
yeah.
of scared for what that, once you look into that, what that actually says. But
That's timing though too, right?
yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I don't know if his timing's been wrong. Like, he might be scoring a lot of goals, but first game-winning goal, just that was shocking to me right away. So, yeah, like I'm excited to see what you come with that.
So, if the players were as good as the video team, the Leafs would never lose a hockey game.
Yeah,
So the Leafs are really pushing around the 12-minute mark tonight. Jones loses sight of the puck. It's sitting right in front of him. Zary wraps around the net, tucks it in. And I think, oh, fuck, again.
Yeah.
Another
I took a lap of my
blown
living
lead
room.
in the 5th game. I just kind of fell back and sunk into the couch and
Mm-hmm.
thought, well, it's already a late game. I guess we're staying up even later. And at that point, it was challenged. And I don't know about you, but I honestly, like, the broadcast didn't even know. And I don't really have the TV very loud for these games, so I don't hear a lot of what the broadcast says. But the broadcast, I could hear them saying they didn't know what it was for either. And I'm thinking, initially you think goaltender interference, right?
Right.
And then you think, or maybe he kicked the puck. Then we see the play. And at the beginning of the play, you say, okay, well, it's definitely not goaltender interference there. The puck definitely didn't get kicked in. And then he wings it around the zone and goes to the top, and they think, well, we can also challenge for offside. Stupid as it may be, we can challenge for offside. So maybe that's what it was. Oh, no, he's 4 feet inside the line. So what the fuck happened? What are they challenging for? And you can see Sheldon Keefe on the bench like, I need to know now. Fuck it. Timeout. They take their time. They figure it out. It comes out. They challenge for a hand pass. Oh, what? Blake Coleman barely nixed the thing. Hand pass. They call the goal back. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just need to know, like, first off, shout out to Toronto's video team. Like I said, if the players were as good as that video team is, they'd never lose. They're like 16-17 this year or something stupid. Like, they're so good at what they do. But if that happened to the Leafs or to the Avs,
Right.
and your player was to be the one to touch that puck just ever so barely, and then 20 seconds later the goal gets called back, do you or do you not agree with that rule?
Oh, I'd be upset.
Yeah, sorry. I thought that was going a different direction. I thought you were going to say, do I blame that player? Do I agree with that rule? Yeah. I mean, I guess the thing is if John Tavares had touched it first, then it would have continued on. And so, like, yes, I agree with that rule. Yeah. And I don't blame, like, if the question was going to be, do I blame the player? No, because your instinct is always going to be to grab the puck and drop it to your feet. So it's just, that's so unfortunate. It was Coleman that did that, right? Like, that's very unfortunate for him. And luckily, he's a team favorite player because if that was a fringe player, like, you might catch some heat for that one, but unwarranted, not his fault at all.
Yeah, I'd like to think I could keep a cool head about it and just say, yeah, you know, if it happened the other way, I'd have to be okay with it. So I think I'd like to be, but I would be upset. I'd be like, come on, like, we just tied it, and now,
I would have called it the
seems
leafiest
ticky-tacky.
Leaf thing ever if it happened to the Leafs.
if it happened to the Leafs, yeah.
It's like 20 seconds ago, and it's so ticky-tacky, and it's like, They miss a lot of shit. Can we go back for every missed fucking call that the ref makes and pull back goals for that? No, we can't. And like it's crazy that they missed this and all of a sudden and like 20 seconds later, because the puck stayed in the zone, now it's still a good goal. If this happened to the Leafs, I'd be fucking outraged, but it didn't. So
Yeah.
luckily they didn't blow a lead tonight.
Right. I mean, I was angry enough that I'm pretty sure that they did. Like I took a lap in my living room and basically reamed the team out in my head. And that's the worst part, is because like I get so emotional about like in these moments, and then the goal gets called back, and so like I have to retract that all in my head, right, and like try and go back to like, okay, nope, they haven't blown this yet. But like it's tough for me to get to that point after it's happened. I've already freaked out. Like that's the weird thing about these days with the like video review, is because like when a goal is scored, you almost have to delay like 15 to 20 seconds to do either your celebration or your reaming out of the team, because like everything is reviewable at this point. So like thank God that was in the fortunate way of the Leafs, because like I wouldn't have been able to handle that. That would have been the end of CP for the night, I think. Like that's just one of the worst things that can happen. It's so little. It's like it's hard to justify that rule, but when you look at the grand scope of it, it's like, you know, how can you not like agree with it, right?
Yeah. I think a ticky-tacky rule, kind of shitty, but it went the Leafs' way, so I'm not going to sit here and complain about it all night.
Nope.
Pontus Holmberg still sitting on the top line with Austin Matthews. It was very shuffly tonight, wasn't it? They were all over the place.
Especially at the end.
He now has 7 points in his past 7 games. Do you think he's going to get an extended look, and how do you feel about Pontus Holmberg sitting up there with the big boys?
I really don't care. I really don't think it matters. Like we're at this point now where basically, like, put whoever there. I like put David Kampf there. I think it would be however Matthews and Marner perform is how good that line's going to be. Other than that, like Matthews goes and gets the puck if he's going to be good that night. He doesn't necessarily need someone to dig it out for him. So like, yeah, I don't know. Put whoever there. I couldn't care at this point. I would actually. And I wanted to get to this later in the episode, but like I would maybe want to see Max Domi there at some point, but that requires another centerman, which is what I would like to get to next at the end of the episode. But yeah, like I put anywhere there. Pontus Holmberg was fine. Like even Gregor, who has been like, I don't know, pretty horrible as of late, as far as like numbers go. Like he was fine, like, and he actually contributed to an assist tonight by accident, which he was actually a pretty big mistake that just happened to luckily go his way. That was the first goal of the night. But then like later in the game, like he looked fine there too. Like I don't think it matters. It's based on the other guys.
Yeah, that's fair. Austin Matthews tonight absolutely created something out of nothing on that first goal, taking it from the shitty Gregor pass, which Holmberg must have passed it to him to get that assist, right?
Yeah. And I don't think that you could call it a pass. It was like
he tried to flick it. Yeah, he tried to flick it. He picked up, fucked that up, picked it back up, corrected
slap at it.
Got it back to Matthews. Matthews decides like, I'm just going to do this myself. Watch this one-man show. He's riding a bicycle, playing a fucking harmonica, slapping tambourines. He's just like, fucking watch me go. Right? Yeah. Absolutely circus out there on that first goal. 4-forward power play tonight when they went 4-on-3.
Yeah, right.
At that point, they scored a goal. Rich Marner made it 3-2, I think is what it was at that point. And I thought, oh, is this the killer instinct we've been looking for?
No, don't give me that.
Did you ever, at any point tonight, look into the game and think, oh, maybe they are pressing and maybe they do understand. Maybe I do see a little change. Or is it just still too much lack of defensive structure? Because there were times where I feel like they're really trying. I just feel like there's no, I already used the word, there's no structure. There's nothing, they don't have any fallback defensive structure. When they're pressing in the offensive zone and they go to correct from broken and missed plays, they constantly fuck up their defensive responsibilities. And I saw lots of pushing tonight, I saw Sheldon Keefe even like he was 2 lines at the end of the game, essentially. But like, did you not notice that there's still a major problem going back for the puck once they've lost it?
Like, okay, so like this is I haven't really got into this yet because we got into Matthews being so amazing at the start and kind of gone from that. But like I didn't love this game. Like Calgary's not a great team. Like, let's be honest, they've won 4 in a row, but like when you look at the guys that they throw out there to try and win the game at the end, like Sharon Govich is out there. Like, I mean, it's not a team that you should be really stacking yourself against. It's a pretty solid game for the Leafs look, because like it's a game that has won a few games, and they've been on a losing streak, so now they can say that like they've done something. But this was the easiest, I think, in the couple coming up after this, and so like, but like Matthews just dragged them through. This is how I felt about it, and Marner was a bit better than he has been. Like, I wouldn't say that it has anything to do with his like killer instinct or anything, but like the team came out flat. Like they were about to be down like 2-0 going to the break, and Matthews has the most important goal of the game. And then, second period comes out and like they're still not winning their minutes or anything, but Matthews again is just dragging them through this game. And so like, and then in the third period, I was actually semi impressed at like how, other than like they had blown this lead, but like the end of the game, I felt good about, so like they built on something here. So like this could be super positive for the team going forward. But I just feel like it like when they showed up tonight, they did not care about anything that had been said about their coach in the last 2 days. Like they came out there and they were pretty dog shit. I felt like when it's been the talk that's been going around, like, you guys aren't idiots. If you swear that you haven't heard anything, what's being said. So like, I don't know. I felt like they came out horribly. I felt a little bit of something from Matthews at the beginning, so I was hopeful, and then he showed up huge. But like I felt like this is a lucky one. You're lucky that you have an MVP candidate that played like it tonight. Because other than that, like I felt like if this was a game where Matthews had to take a game out, like it would have been bad. Even if you look at like, I think he was the only line that actually had good, like positive minutes. There was a whole lot of bad lines out there that were constantly in their own zone. So McCabe and Benoit had to do a lot of work tonight. Like their minutes probably look bad. I haven't looked through it at all, but like they were in their own zone a ton, and I'm not sure it was their fault. So like, I don't know. This game doesn't make me feel like way better. I just like, it's great that we got a win. It was really needed. So like, especially Keefe is probably just like, he was probably sweating bullets, and you could tell he was screaming at Willie and Bertuzzi coming off from a line change. So yeah, they lucked into one. It's very fortunate. I'm not sure what the rest of media is going to be saying, if they think that this is like the saving grace for the team, but it's not exactly what I saw. I don't know.
Well, listen, the negatives here that I have written down, I have one major negative, and it's that high danger chances in period 1 were Flames 6, Maple Leafs 0.
Right.
And
Matthew scored
flat. Yeah. And it was bad from the team. It wasn't an exciting game. Couple of chances right off the start for both ends. But nobody could really get anything going and hold any domination. It was kind of chance at this end, back to the other end, what we call a track meet, if I can here. And I just wonder, we talk a lot about the Leafs can only play 40 minutes, CP. Would you rather them fuck the first period up and then maybe just play good for the other two? Because like that's what I was thinking after the first one. But I'm like, okay, Leafs are still in it. Leafs are still in it, and they haven't been playing good. So now they got 40 minutes. They're going to right the ship, and they're going to come out with a win. And that kind of seems to be the way. They can't play a whole 60-minute game. So if they're going to fuck it up, would you not rather them fuck it up at the beginning and find it later on? Like, I mean, this is just facts. This isn't a joke.
No,
right?
no,
Like,
that's
it's funny
facts.
at this point.
Yeah.
But it's facts. They do not play a full game.
No.
So would you not rather, if they're gonna be flat, come out flat rather than finishing flat?
I like the
I would.
games that are the first and third.
I was gonna
I'll
say,
take
yeah. What about the start and the end? Take a bit of a
Yeah.
lunch break in the second.
start strong, finish
Lose a
strong.
game in the second.
If
pretty
you need to
easy.
take the second
though.
take the second to kind of figure it out, but like is that what we should really be planning?
No,
We're not planning. We're
towards
reacting.
plan 60.
I know, but like if we were to choose, like I don't know,
Accept
I
it.
would
You don't get to
choose
choose.
to trade people until you figure it out.
Fair.
You know?
You don't
Yeah,
get
just
to-
well, that's not happening, CP. So I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I think I'd rather them fuck it up in the beginning than the end.
You had to choose,
I would
yeah.
do if I had to pick one or the other for sure.
The Benoit and Greer incident tonight was very fucking fun. Did you notice that? I didn't even
the
see
bench?
it on
Into the
camera.
bench?
Yeah, threw him into the bench. Like he gets Greer's fucking with Yarncroke, and then Benoit gets involved, and then somehow he ends up in the bench. And that Simon Benoit, man, like I'm gonna buy a jersey for fuck's sakes at this point. Like he's so good. Like you know what? Simon, you're a guy. You're gonna make so much money somewhere next year. Like God, he's a great player. I understand why the Anaheim Ducks gave him a chance on their second line because the Toronto Maple Leafs are giving him a chance on their second line, right? Not exactly like we're strapped with defensive stalwarts out there, but like at the same time, he is beating out other NHL defensemen for that job. And if it was that bad, they would have went out and filled this spot. But Simon Benoit's been good. He's been good. I really, really like that guy and what he brings to this team. And I wish that there was like 4 Simon Benoits on this team. I really feel like the Leafs would just be a bunch of dicks, and it would be a lot of fun to play with.
I mean, to be honest, 4 of him might be too much because he's not the
fuck
best
it.
puck mover in the world. I mean, I love his style of play.
Give me a couple on forward and give me 2 on the back.
Okay, yeah. Then
Yeah.
I agree with that for sure. His mentality too, of just like no fucks given. I
Yeah.
I appreciate that, right? So, yeah, like I think that he's a lock. I kind of miss Lagesson on this lineup too. Like it's funny that anytime that Benoit's brought up, I always think of Lagesson because they, like we're auditioning for the same spot basically. And like I would like,
Liljegren thing.
yeah, exactly.
We associate them.
Yeah. So I would like to see Lagesson brought back in because like he had a little bit of that snot that this team needs, quotations around that. So yeah, but yeah, the Benoit, like I just love anything like the bringing guys into the bench. Like I don't know, that you're gonna get a penalty for that, so I'm thankful that it was both ways, right? So as soon as that happened, I was just like, God damn it! And then it was both ways. I was like, yeah, nice, good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, that's how it had to work out. I mean, like it was both guys being dicks, and it was funny because it wasn't like it wasn't roughing, it wasn't a cross checking, it wasn't anything like that. It was unsportsmanlike, which is basically you're a penalty for a dick and you get a penalty for being a dick, right?
Yeah.
Like both players.
Really.
Excuse me. Unsportsmanlike. That means you're being an asshole. That is what that is they're trying to say. That is what the penalty is for. What did he do wrong? Well, he's being an asshole. Well, that's definitely a penalty, but what do we call it? I don't know. Unsportsmanlike. That's perfect. Yeah. He's not like a sportsman. He's unlike a sportsman. So, perfect. That's what they call it, and I loved it. But we need more assholes on our team. I thoroughly believe they need to be able to play, okay? But we need more assholes on our team like that. Guys who are making an impact with their physical play. Not just guys who hit. Not just guys who work hard in the corners. Guys who make an impact with their physical play, who the other team notices, who the crowd notices, who the announcers can't help but mention on the broadcast. Somebody that we're going to talk about every show, and I want like 3 of them. Could we get 1 in each of the bottom 6 and then 1 on the back end? And we'll keep Simon Benoit as our 1 on the back end. Like, we just need more dicks, and I really enjoy it watching that guy play. It's just he makes me smile, man. Like, it's like in games that are shitty, and this guy comes out and he does something dumb. I'm like, yes, I love that so much. And I grew up in the days when like we fucking loved Colton Orr and fucking Fraser McLaren and like,
Oh.
you know, like
You're tugging
I
on my
love people.
heartstrings.
I love people going and fucking causing shit, and it was a lot of fun. I have a picture of Ty Domi right here, like that's the man, Ty Domi right there, blood running down his face. I enjoy it. I love people going out there and causing shit, and I just love Simo Benwell for it. That's my end of my rant for that. Big win from the Leafs. Good Hattie from Maddie. Happy to see them turn it around. But it's not over. They still have another game against Vancouver on this road trip, and then they finish in Seattle. So, like, at this point, you kind of just have to hold your breath and wait for the next game. Because, like, what are we really going to hang our hats on for beating Calgary just barely when Calgary's kind of shit and the Leafs have aspirations to be tops in the league? It's, you know, do we have to accept the fact that maybe the Leafs aren't that good? Or do we just say, just hold on, cool it, wait? Because when we started this game tonight, Detroit was leading the Leafs in points in the season. They were up by 1, 2 games back, but up by 1. Now the Leafs are up by 1, but they only hold 1 game on Detroit. I don't know if Detroit played tonight. But the point being is that do we have to accept the fact that the Leafs are kind of shitty and maybe we should take this win as a big thing? Or do we not at all because it's Calgary and we still have to go play Vancouver, who's really fucking good, tops of the league good, and then Seattle, who's not a bad team. It's going to be interesting to see. And then I'm not even sure who we have when we get back, but it's definitely not going to be San Jose, and Anaheim. And I think we kind of got our blinders on going on that California trip, the beaches, the flip-flops, the girls in bikinis, you know, like they got our heads stuck in the sand like fucking ostriches. And you need to take your head out and realize that this is the National Hockey League and there are teams that are really fucking good every night that are going to come and beat you, and you're not always going to play one of the statistically worst NHL hockey teams in history in the San Jose Sharks in back-to-backs, right? So those wins were great. Seeing the losses really, I think, fucking put their heads back into all this, and now we need to move forward. They need to beat Vancouver on Vancouver's home ice. That's my opinion. And then I'll start to believe again.
Yeah, definitely the Vancouver game's a big game. Especially like if they beat Vancouver and then lose to Seattle, then I'll feel better than if they lose to Vancouver and beat Seattle. So,
Agreed.
This team is missing stuff. There's no question. I like it. Like I kind of want to change my answer from, I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before. I don't know if it was the chat or you asked me. If I could add just one thing to this team, what would it be? I said just still a right defenseman, but like I think it's a centerman. Like Max Domi's not cutting it for me. I think like I want to love him, and I think that it'd be easier to love him as a winger. But like my question to you, like, would you rather have Tanev or Lindholm on this team? Right? When I was looking out there tonight and what the Leafs are missing, and I felt like if Lindholm was out there and Tavares wasn't our like second best centerman, like that just totally changes the window of this thing that we're doing. Yes, next year would be just horrible cap wise, and like you would have to like kind of call Kyle Dubas up and get some advice, because you're gonna have to find a lot of inexpensive
still works
players. Yeah, you're gonna have to find a lot of inexpensive players to make that work. But like, I just think that Tavares I think that he still has a lot left in him if he doesn't have so much responsibility. And there might be like a scenario here where like we have a lot of inexpensive defensemen. And so you might have an easier way to make it work next year. Like Brody even comes off the cap. If you wanted to keep him, it'd be cheap. And so like a centerman, I think just changes this team way more and just creates like a two-headed beast plus Tavares. And like I think would change the dynamic of this team. Maybe it doesn't have to be Lindholm, like that's just who I saw tonight. I know that like he might be available for trade, but I think that would make a bigger difference than Tanev, who also looked awesome. I'm not saying that he didn't. I would love to have Tanev on this team too. You can't have them all though, and there's only so much salary cap, or you would go out and catch them all. But I feel like yeah, Lindholm to me or centerman close to that would be amazing, I think, for this team. But would they be willing to do that? I don't know.
I think that you have to go back and look at history to determine whether you need a major centerman or you need a better defense core. And this was brought up on one of the sports shows I listened to today. I can't remember which one I listened to today. Probably there's like a dozen I listened to over the course of the day. And they brought up that all the cup winners of the recent few years, we have Vegas, and then the Avalanche, and then Tampa, all had really big, really skilled defensemen on their back end. Guys who could both play and defend. They weren't just smart. They were also skilled enough to move the puck and big enough to absorb the plays and pinch out the plays. I still kind of believe that the Leafs are just lacking in defenders. I think we've come to love and know too many of these guys. I think Simon Benoit's great, and I think he's your 3 lefty, and you still need like 2 defensemen at least. In a perfect world, you upgrade on a 3rd as well, but like you need 2 more guys, and like that means Gio's not playing. That probably means Brody's not playing, and you could probably use a better version of Lily. Liljegren is mid. He's not great. He's not bad. He's fucking mid, and we drafted him, and we like him, and every time he does something good, we're like, oh yeah, there he is. He's doing so, and he's not bad. He's not bad. He does his job, but I think that they could use an upgrade for a guy that's going to be in Liljegren's position. Now, if he's going to play on the 3rd line, keep Liljegren around. Awesome. I love the player. I'm not trying to bash Timothy Liljegren. I'm just saying with what he provides in the position that he's in, I don't think for the minutes that he's given you on the PK and every time else that he's stepping out on the ice, I think that they would benefit more from bigger and rangier and tougher, harder to play against type players. More household type names, guys who you could really count on. And I just don't, I think that means somebody like Gio's not going to play. I think that means Brody's not going to play. And then, the list can go on, but I think right now the only guy that's like a fucking stud back there is Riley, and he can't do it alone. McCabe, I like too, but it's hard to put him in the position that he's in right now. And he's when he's your second best defenseman and he doesn't always act like the second best defenseman on the team, then that's a problem. And you need a guy who you can bona fide say he's our second best defenseman. And when McCabe's going too, fucking awesome. But if he's not, then you really look like you're lacking on the back end.
See, to me, like McCabe and Benoit are like a locked in second pair at the moment, and like you're shut down. Like they were out at the end tonight, and they did awesome. They've been by far the best. Brody is a for sure in the lineup player, but on a 3rd line, like he's the first line right defenseman, and he shoots left. Like you put him anywhere on the left side, and he does way better. And if you put him on the 3rd pairing, then it's like worlds better. And Liljegren, I think, is like he's been winning minutes. So to me, like it's missing one really good guy, one really good right shot defenseman. It's just, do you have the chips to do all these things? And I think that at the moment,
if you have to just choose one, that's the thing. If you're only choosing one, a center or a right D. But do you think a second line pairing of Benoit McCabe is going to win the Toronto Maple Leafs the Stanley Cup? 2 left shot defensemen on that second line. I know we love Benoit, and I know we love McCabe. I know you love McCabe even more than I do. But actually ask yourself, like, take a second if you have one, look in the goddamn mirror and ask yourself, do I truly believe that the Leafs are going to win a Stanley Cup and get through all the other great teams and their great forward groups with Benoit and McCabe as your shutdown pairing? Right now, I'm not sold on that.
Yeah, like I think that you're underlooking, overlooking, whatever one it is, like that the first pairing can't take any of those minutes. And so, like, I think if you have one, like, really good right shot defenseman, like, yes, then McCabe and Benoit are a great second pairing, I think, because they're not providing anything special, but they can shut down lineups, and they've been doing a decent job at it. So like I think that it's hard to say that it's not a pairing until you see what it could be with a much upgraded first pair. Because like at a second pair, I think it's great, and Liljegren on a third pairing, I think is great. He's missing a left defense. Like if sorry to change topics. Like if Liljegren had a different partner than Gio, like he's doing, I think, much better. Gio, like it's funny because Gio's hard to like. All of his numbers say he does well, but like you're watching the game, I'm watching the game. Like he struggles, right? So like I think that he can be like much improved on, and I hate to say it.
Lead the team in goals, actual goals.
I know
percentage.
Yeah, they don't account for like if you need to minus a lot more for like the big mess ups, because like he makes a lot of those, and I think that's his biggest downfall, and that's just something that I mean it's hard to ask much more of him. You know, like he's 40, you know, and so it just sucks saying that he's the weak link, but I mean on a really good playoff defense core, I don't think he's on it. You know, but I think he's, you know, great to be a morale guy in the dressing room and in the box office. But yeah, I think that I think that this team, if you have the one upgrade, then like you have to evaluate the rest of the guys differently, right? And like right now, Riley
at that point, yes,
yeah. But the problem is that like at the end of the game tonight, we're only putting out 2 lines on forward. You know, we can run 3 defense lines, but we can't run 3 forward lines. And it's because that you can't trust a line that's centered by Domi with 2 wingers that like Yarncroke, yes, is pretty good defensively, but Nyes is like, I'm not even sure he knows that we're playing NHL hockey because he's running around like it's pond hockey out there. So like, I think that if you could run 3 lines out there better, then it's way easier on the defenseman, way better defense centerman. You know, like defense will rely on their centerman a lot. And so like someone who is actually a second line center, because John Tavares at that point would be your third line center. Like that just, I think helps the defense a lot more. And yes, like we're definitely still missing defensemen, but like, I think if we're saying like, then we're missing 2 players. Like, I think we're for sure missing both of those, right? If you could get both, you would for sure. It's just there's not a lot of draft capital in the cupboard, not a lot of prospects available to be sending away, and like Matthew Nyes would have to be included in a deal that got you both those guys. And so, are you ready to give up on a guy like that? Like I'm not necessarily, but
no. But we also got like a perfectly good Nick Robertson in the cupboard. Like
he's not getting it done. You know,
no,
if you're getting 2
picks.
Yeah, I guess, but like
a lot of value. You could get things done, and things aren't always as expensive as we work them up to be in our heads.
That's true.
They never ever are.
I always think it's going to be the world to get players, and it doesn't end up being. You're right.
I sit here today in the year of 2024, and I hope to God that McCabe and Benoit can make me feel the way about them that you feel about them right now. I do not fully agree with that pairing. I do not think that they are going to be good enough to get the Leafs through 4 rounds of NHL Stanley Cup playoff hockey. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think they'd be great third pairing. Awesome third pairing. I think it'd be great if you could get 2 guys, and
be
it's
unreal
unfortunate. Unreal third pair. Be great third pairing, right? But I don't think that they're unreal in their positions at second. I think that they're okay. And I think that we need somebody in those positions to be amazing. And I've already fallen in love with Simon Benoit, so I might come back here in a month and a half and say, you know what, I'm sold. They're amazing. But right now, the Leafs aren't exactly great defensively as a whole team. So me looking at this second pairing, and they're not, you know, they're just not great all-around players. McCabe, we specifically don't want McCabe to jump up because he's not a great all-around player. I'd like a guy who does what McCabe does, but also can handle the fucking puck, and you're like not freaking out that he's taking the puck, jumping in up with the play. Like, he's a smart player. He makes a lot of good decisions, and when he's jumping up in the rush too. But like, I just don't think that those 2 guys are Stanley Cup winning second pairing defenseman. I just don't think that that's good enough for the Toronto Maple Leafs to go into the playoffs with. I think they probably need 2 defenders and a center. I think you're right. And that really makes me wonder how far they're going to get this year. But we got lots of hockey left, right? So hopefully Benoit and McCabe can just change my mind, and then we just get the one defender, maybe a centerman that just chips in, and all of a sudden things are great. We're in the 3rd round of the playoffs. We're talking about playing the Avs, and everything's hunky-dory. Right now, it just does not fucking feel that way. Can you blame me, CP? I'm sorry.
No, I don't blame you at all. And that actually makes me think, like, if Rasmus Anderson was ever available on Calgary, he was by far the best defenseman on the ice tonight for me. I mean, he's good in his own zone.
He's not going anywhere. Yeah,
I know, but like that's the type of guy that changes a team. Like it's hard to imagine like them getting a defense. Like it's hard. Not a lot of defensemen that can change your team are available. Like you have to draft them. Like you don't get a Cal McCarr that in free agency or someone gives them away, So impact players like that are hard to come by. So maybe it's more of a committee thing, like you say, and like instead of getting like the best, top right defenseman, you get, 2 defensemen that just improve your core in general, and that sends Liljegren out the door. But I don't know.
It's got to be better than Liljegren too, and Liljegren's not bad. He's a good defender. He's just
3rd pair defenseman.
He's mid. He's just mid. He's not a second pairing guy, and that's why he's not in the second pairing. And he's like one of our only right shot guys. Like I think a Brody Liljegren 3rd pairing would be too good, right? So I don't know. I think the Benoit and McCabe thing really has to pay some dividends here.
Yeah, fair enough.
You got anything else to go over here, CP?
No, I think I just got rid of it with that Anderson thing. So. Yeah, we got the Bertuzzi, Tavares, and Nylander line back. Like, I'm actually kind of glad, even though it sucked. I feel like that it had been our better line at the beginning of the season. So they just need to. They've probably been the unluckiest as a trio to when they play together. Only Nylander seems to be able to score when they're together. So I don't know. Like it was nice actually because we've seen so many mix-up lines that we finally did see like one of the lines return to what it was, but it wasn't good, but it could be, I guess. It's a line that I think that that could be successful, but I don't know. It's just tough when you're asking too much of them, and I think that just stems back to my needing another centerman thing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
That's it for me.
It's fair assessment. They played Nylander, Tavares, Bertuzzi played almost 10 minutes together tonight. They played the most 5-on-5 together tonight out of any Maple Leafs forward group. Second to them was Marner, Matthews, and Holmberg at 9 minutes and 43 seconds. And that's crazy because the Tavares line expected goals for was 36% and the Matthews was 53%, and they played less.
But Matthews played more with other players, so.
Yeah, I mean, Matthews, but they mixed it up too. I mean, you had Nyes with Tavares and Nylander, and you had Matthews with Marner and Yarncroke, and that's all I've got for 5v5 here for any extended period of time. And that's 3 minutes and 40 seconds with Calle Yarncroke, so it's really not much. And like the highest played time on ice tonight was the Nylander, Tavares, Bertuzzi line at 9 minutes and 52 seconds, and they weren't great. I think Keith wants it to work just as much as you do, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, it gets rolled out there, and I just don't hate it. Like, their numbers might not be amazing, but, I mean, like, that's the thing about defensive numbers. I count expected goals more for the forwards because, like, defensively, they're always out there against the top lines, normally starting in their own zone, like, that's the tough thing. So, yeah, I don't know. You might be right. Like, you get into a 3rd round of a series, like maybe Keith and I are wrong about how well they work together. But, yeah, we'll see.
Yep, we will see. The Leafs continue their 4-game road trip in Vancouver on Saturday, 7 p.m. Thank God we get an earlier post-game. As always, we will be here post-game to chat with you. that's a wrap for now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting. Hit that like button. Give us 5 stars. Subscribe on YouTube. Find us on X at STDP Hockey and search for Split the Defense with an S because we're weird on all the other socials. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
You've been listening to
Split the Defense.
Leafs Post-Game Edition. Hosted by Jordan Webster, Craig Pearce, and producer Ted Evans.
Split the Defense.
Is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004. Serving the Kingston and surrounding areas.